There's something special to be said about this. We open not in the hollowed halls of Lockers in Bayside, but in students hanging out at the Max. What else do you want to be called? Especially when it's inspired by the mad surfer bro light culture, where everything is out there to be rad to the max, kicking it loose and gnarly. Far out, my main man. Let's not forget the loud clothing line that was the height of youth fashion before a group of Generation X musicians stepping onto the bandwagon being lost by overdressed mountains upon mountains of clothes. Too legit not to quit. As the show opens, we find out that the owner of the Max himself, gives a startling announcement to the class.
The episode opens at the Max, so this is that early period where
there's Max.
Where's Max? And I was thinking about that because it's like Max owns the Max. It's like if Austin owned a store and he called it the Austin, like why isn't it like Max?
It wouldn't be a pun on his name the way the Max is the pun.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess it'd have to be to the Max though.
Well, and how egotistical. And then he disappeared. I don't remember how long he lasts, but we'll only see him for a short period.
I think it's only season 1.
I don't know. Is that really the Max behind the Max? He's so crazy with jokes and gags that he might as well be made out of assorted pop parts. The problem is not the fact that Ed Alonso is a talented magician, but he's never given much to do on the show except random tricks. He could have been a great balance of Mr. Belding, but we'll never know. He seems to have some comedic presence, for he does give a not too bad impression of Kasem.
Kasem.
So Max is like, hey, here's the magic tricks, ugh. And then he tells the kids about how there's going to be a televised dance contest, and that the celebrity guest is Kasem.
No, I think you mean the celebrity guest is Kasem.
Kasem.
Supposedly, he has good news that Kasem is coming to town to film an episode of Dance Party. Kasem sends a telegram saying that Max has been selected to host a dance contest and that everyone is excited. Both Slater and Zack want Kyli as their partner, so in efforts to win her over, the boys have a small dance battle.
And, Slater's like, hey, Kyli, I'm gonna take you to this dance contest and we're gonna fuck afterwards. And then Zack's like, nah, man, I wanna fuck Kyli. So then they agree to have a dance battle, and I just want to open up to the floor your thoughts on Slater's dance routine.
Hubba. What was a buzzer? It was like Chippendales gone day glow. And not in a good way. Oh, and it's Slater's hot salmon tank. But it's got side boob, and side boob wasn't there yet. But you can see his salami nips the whole time.
His burgeoning side boob.
Yeah.
He really is enormous.
Yeah.
And he's not shy about showing off his guns.
I think his dimples were made in a factory. Both sets of them.
I will say he can pull off moves I could not pull off.
He also, I'm regretting that this is a podcast, because he does this little, arm movement, this little Tyrannosaurus arm.
Oh, yes.
It's like a Tyrannosaurus is having a stroke or something.
Win with you? Your feet need training wheels.
And also, the song that they play, there's just this one song they play for every single dance performance, the whole episode, which is just queued up on the jukebox. It's just like you press the jukebox and it's like, da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Apparently their jukebox only plays music.
Well,
no copyright infringement here, no lyrics, just straight up music.
Very amusing.
Screech tries to get Lisa to be his partner, but he's rejected once again. When Jessie is asked to dance with some ragtag background dancer, she goes out full of girl power and denies him the privilege, further cementing her as one stone cold stick in the mud.
The only thing wrong with that scale is the flake who's on it.
Or maybe she's hiding something?
Thrust it! Thrust it! Come on, thrust it!
Yeah, more on that later.
Thanks a lot.
Soon, Jessie will be rampaging through the streets of LA, snacking on danger, dining on death, swatting buses in an attack of the 50-foot feminist.
Stop looking up at me.
In music class, the gang plays poorly when the teacher's in the room, but by some miracle, the instant that she leaves, they all become rock stars playing in perfect sync. But when she returns, they go back to playing the classical selection badly. Soon, the music shifts again and is more upbeat, and Jessie gets up to dance. Danny joins her, and they seem to have chemistry, but Jessie finally realizes what is happening. She rushes back to her seat. Screech tells Zack that this is his chance to show off his moves for Kyli. He sidesteps her request.
Yeah, dazzle us, preppy.
You gotta love the way Zack enters the room via a window Night Stalker, Richard Muir style, when Simon goes to Jessie for help. She tells him that she'd be glad to and asks him to show her some of his moves. He demonstrates an awkward sidestep, and she tells him that maybe it would be best just to go with Screech. Kasey Kasem goes to see Mr. Belding at school in regards to the dance party. Mr. Belding always is eager to be a part of the action and offers his help, claiming that he was a big bopper around school. The man behind Scooby-Doo and bringing the music to you is reduced in exchanging cheap, canned humor with Mr. Belding. All Kasey wants for Mr. Belding to loan out a school banner to hang during the dance, but is instead being treated to the twist.
Let's twist again, like we did last summer. Yeah, let's twist again, like we did last year. You want me to recreate that moment, right?
That hadn't occurred to me.
We all know Kasem was inserted into this episode to boost ratings with the new reboot of Good Morning Miss Bliss with the Saved by the Bell, with network execs thinking, hey, what do kids love? Men in their late 50s. Kasem's hair looks so badly dyed to cover his aging that it looks more like a spokesperson for the Grecian hair formula.
Si de pronto yo aparezco con el pelo teñido, mis amigos harían ¡ho, ho, ho! Pero así, con Grecian 2000, usted controla cuántas canas eliminar.
Kyli approaches Zack, wondering when the alleged dance contest was going to take place. And he tells her that he would destroy Slater in 2 days, and she questions whether or not he was really as good as he says he is. He reassures her that while the other kids played basketball in the summer, he was at the dance camp instead.
Wow, I can't wait.
Why did I see that?
Screech comes down the stairs, waltzing like the creepy doll, and even though Zack warns him to stop before he could even begin to humiliate himself, he tries to convince Lisa to go with him. But Lisa already has a date, and Screech turns away alone, dragging his doll up the stairs.
It's all your fault. Told you to let me lead.
Zack has come a long way since Jessie has started giving him lessons. Instead of only being able to do his pathetic sidestep, he now has a fighting chance to with Kyli as his partner. Zack asks her why she doesn't enter the contest since she's such a good dancer, and she goes to a flashback explaining it's because she is just too big. And Zack tells her that it's okay to be tall and that there are tons of guys taller than her.
And Jessie is giving dance lessons to Zack to that one song. There's a great moment where
Zack dances about as well as I do.
there's a great moment where she's like, "Here's a new step I just invented," and it's like,
Okay, yeah, can we talk for a minute? They bring that up at the end too. Who invents dance steps? Is that really something that people do?
well, I remember in this period in the '90s, it's like there was like the Running Man and the Cabbage Patch. Do kids still have dance moves? I don't know if they do.
I feel like nowadays they just kind of like sway to a beat and grind up against each other.
Straight up
Old man
twerking.
alert! Old man alert!
Yeah, no, this is how old and outdated we are. We had dance moves when I was a kid. Now they
So
just
what I'm confused
grind.
about is Jesse's teaching Zack how to dance, but all their dance seems like pair moves, like they have to dance together.
Yeah,
But
that's
he's
true.
supposed to show off to Kyli like solo, so like he's just gonna look like a doofus, like
Well,
pretending to waltz by himself. Or
there's no non-doofus moves in that whole. It's the pink border. So then she has this weird anxiety dream where she's constantly growing. And my question about this, you guys, Carolyn, I talked to about this before.
You mentioned it out of nowhere, and I want to say it again.
She
out
looked
of
at me weird.
nowhere.
So guys, back me up here. Is it a common male fantasy to have sex with a giant woman?
Lorraine says, everyone's thought about a giant lady.
There's like those Frank Frazetta drawings. I don't know. Am I
I'll
on?
let Austin answer this first.
I can't say that I've ever had that particular fantasy, but I guess there's a certain, I mean, like the old B movies and Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and there's a zeitgeisty giant woman thing going on. I don't think I can deny that.
I'll say that I've personally never really had that fantasy, but I did have a friend whose fantasy was to be with a woman whose breasts were so large she could sleep within her cleavage.
All right.
Screech begins to think that things might be over for him and Lisa, so he decides to stop acting so stud-like. Slater does his best to encourage him to go for another girl, but Screech has his heart set on her since kindergarten.
Screech makes the revelation in the first episode that it's really over between him and Lisa, which is a remarkable moment.
Since this is like the first episode we see, it's kind of ridiculous, but alright.
If only he stopped stalking her at that realization, but no.
No.
Screech powers never says die.
Yeah.
It's just getting started. So then what? There's a scene with the dudes in the same locker room, which is weird.
And Screech keeps touching Slater.
Yeah,
This is the second time in this episode, and he's just all over him, and any excuse to fall into Slater's warm, comforting arms.
And this is the first of many gay panic jokes on Saved by the Bell. When Screech is nestled in the crook of Slater's arm, and Slater's sort of supporting him and comforting him, and then some other dude in skimpy ass shorts walks by, and Slater gets up and Screech falls over. It's like, oh no, I'm not into that guy.
It's within these handful of scenes that our character stereotypes are etched and set in stone through the series. So Zack as the preppy hustler, Slater the jock, Jesse the feminist and brainiac, Kyli the athlete and object of desire, and Screech the dork with many faces.
And the wart he left behind. Come on, Screech. I think you're being too hard on yourself.
Lisa comes into school the next day on crutches, claiming she sprained her ankle by kicking the TV because Revlon discontinued her favorite nail polish. Lisa's date ditches her, and the gang stands up for her. She is further labeled as fashionista, who loves to get her kicks by putting on the Ritz and fends off Screech on pest control.
So then we find out that Lisa sprained her ankle. She sprained it kicking the TV because there was a commercial that announced the discontinuation of a product.
And not a commercial, to say the least, but yes.
That's not
Yeah, most commercials try to sell you on a product, not announce the discontinuation of
Hey,
one.
remember this product? It sucks. You discontinued. Yes.
So then Byron goes with his back. I like that he had another woman in his back pocket this whole time.
Oh, this Byron dude, he is all about this dance competition. He's gonna win this motherfucking competition. With Lisa or someone else, he's winning it.
But he's made out to be the villain here. But all he did was invite someone to a dance contest who then sprained their ankle, and then they can't dance.
She didn't say she couldn't dance. She didn't know if she could dance. And Byron couldn't lose any precious practice time because he needed to be the best.
And the end of the episode shows she couldn't dance.
But let's face it, this is a dance contest, and if you don't want to appear to be physically able to dance, why are you getting mad about it?
How could you do that to me?
Zack tells Kyli that she should go with Slater since he would rather with Jesse.
And Zack tells Kelly to go with Slater and ends up going with Jesse based on the bonding moments they've had together.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an interesting moment for their romantic tension, which we won't visit again for like 3 seasons during the great Snow White rap episode.
Yeah, Snow White, yeah.
Which
Good time.
I just thought we should prepare people for that
This
now.
is one of the genuinely entertaining moments for me, was in that scene after Jesse sort of tells Zack to, she mimics Kyli in their last dance session, telling her, oh, make me choose between you and Slater. And then at school the next day, Kyli says line by line exactly what Jesse did, while Jesse sort of flips her hair over her shoulder and gives Zack this little wink. I genuinely laughed at that.
Fair enough.
At the contest, Belding is introduced as hip caring principal and is allowed to run the applausometer. Kelly and Slater go first, followed by Zack and Jesse. And finally, Lisa and Screech perform the sprain, a new dance invented to accommodate for Lisa's injury. They clearly win the contest, possibly by pity, and everyone dances to celebrate. The entire episode was building up to Zack versus Slater dance-off, but due to false advertising, it does not happen. Instead, Zack chooses Jesse as his partner, while Kelly chooses Slater. When it comes to it makes sense with Zack and never putting passion in front of principle. As far as the final execution of the dance contest goes, it was a little confusing. We have Kasem looking directly into the camera, giving you an impression that the event is being hosted on TV, yet no film crew is seen. This begs to question why would Casey appear at some dive-in diner hosting an event and not seen on TV featuring high schoolers? Why is he talking to the mic and who is he addressing? Again, a very much confused Kasem bids farewell like he's signing out from suggesting we are a part of the show, part of a fictional TV audience at some weird local California affiliate network station that is suddenly erased from existence the moment the credits roll. I'm guessing this episode is brought to you by The Outer Limits. Please stand by.
Let's do the sprain. Whoa!
I can't